After 3 train tragedies in less than a week, Railway Minister Suresh Prabhu has offered to resign from his post. In fact, in a series of tweets that he put out just a short while ago, the minister said, and I quote, "In less than 3 years as minister, I've devoted my blood and sweat for the betterment of the railways. Under the leadership of the Prime Minister, I've tried to overcome decades of neglect through systemic reforms in all areas, leading to unprecedented investment and milestones." The Railway Minister also said, and I quote again, "New India envisioned by the Prime Minister deserves the railways which is efficient and modern. I promise that is the path on which the railways is progressing," end of quote. However, Prabhu then went on to say, and I quote, "I'm extremely pained by the unfortunate accidents, injuries to passengers and loss of precious lives. It's caused me deep anguish. I met the Honourable Prime Minister taking full moral responsibility. The Prime Minister has asked me to wait." Now, Suresh Prabhu has offered to resign at a time when there is a strong buzz of a cabinet reshuffle in the works. In fact, Network 18 learns that a reshuffle could be on the anvil within the next few days. To discuss the possibility of Suresh Prabhu's resignation as well as the cabinet reshuffle, I have with me on the phone line political editor at Business Standard, Aditi Fadnis, and also with me in the studio, Shailesh Kumar of Eurasia Group. Thanks very much, Shailesh and Aditi, for joining us. Aditi, let me start by asking you, Suresh Prabhu, tweeting saying, "I accept full moral responsibility. I've offered to resign. The Prime Minister has asked me to wait." Finance Minister Jaitley addressing a press conference a short while ago, also saying that it will be the Prime Minister's decision and he will look at Suresh Prabhu's request. Do you think that this is, in the end, now going to be Prabhu's exit from the Railway Ministry? And we've seen this happen a few months ago as well.
Suresh Prabhu was tipped to leave the Railway Ministry in any case. Frankly, the Railway Ministry is no longer what it used to be. And Prabhu has more or less decided on its, if I may call it, disempowerment. I mean, I don't think there's any surprises there. What we were hearing was that he may be moved to the Ministry of Roads and Highways, which will be vacant after Nitin Gadkari is moved to the Ministry of Defence. But this was some time ago, and but in any case, I think some kind of a decision had already been taken earlier that Prabhu is no longer required in the Ministry of Railways.
Why would you say that? Is that because of the merger of the railway budget with the union budget, Aditi?
Well, I think a lot of changes have to be brought about in the railways, and these have to be structural changes. My own feeling is that the first priority for the Prime Minister, if he is re-elected, I would rather say if and when he is re-elected after the general elections, is going to be the railways. We know that the railways is the largest employer of people, the largest state-owned entity which employs more than 13 lakh people. We know that the pattern of financing the railways is not really sustainable. We also know that there is a great deal of corruption and a great deal of, and yet the railways work seamlessly. And frankly, it's a mystery to many of us how it continues to work the way it does. So it's a very, very complex ministry. And I think it needs to be looked at with really fresh eyes.
Okay, we thought that that the fresh perspective was going to be brought by Suresh Prabhu, but you're saying that perhaps his exit was already on the cards and on the anvil. But let me bring in the former Railway Minister Dinesh Trivedi into this conversation. Mr. Trivedi, many thanks for joining us. We've seen the railways put out its version saying that, look, whether it's the safety record, it's the derailment record, there is a lot of myth that's being perpetuated in the media and so on and so forth. But that apart, would you be surprised at all if Suresh Prabhu were to go?
Well, I think we leave it to the Honorable Prime Minister. He's the captain of the team, and he would take the right decision, whichever is good for the railways and the country. So I would really leave it to the Prime Minister, and I think that's the best thing to do, rather than speculate this.
Now, I won't get you to comment on what happens with Mr. Prabhu, but on the need of the hour, you know, when Suresh Prabhu came in, there was this long list of items that he had put on the agenda in terms of reforms for the railways and so on and so forth. A safety coach was set up. and look where we are today. Now, Aditi Fadnis also saying that we need to look at the railways in a completely different perspective with a new pair of eyes. As former railway minister, what is the need of the hour today?
I agree with Aditi. She knows railways very well. I can only tell you the basic foundation of the railway has been shaken up. We need to concentrate on basics. We need to reinforce the very foundation of the railway, and I'm talking about the structural foundation. And I think somewhere down the line we have lost our priorities, and that's a worrisome situation, because given the fact railway still remains one of the best organizations, not only in India but in the world. So given a proper direction and leadership, railway still can turn around. But we have to understand the strength of Indian Railways. And I'm very proud that the railway is still good. But at the moment, I must tell you, having said that, the entire railway staff and the board is totally demoralized, because I have nothing against any individual, but you can't disturb the system. You have given promotion to a chairman who had retired as if there was no other talent. And this chairman also is not really a technical person. He comes from stores. That's okay. It doesn't matter. But somewhere down the line, you cannot demoralize people, because everybody's promotion has been stopped. So your priorities have changed, so nobody gives a damn. So you have to work as a big, huge team. And the job of the minister is to give direction and motivate everybody like a captain of the team.
Okay, Shailesh, you were in fact at the Railway Ministry this morning. In light of the developments that have taken place, how is this going to go down, for instance, with foreign investors who've been looking at the India infrastructure story and the railway story in specific?
So I think railways, or what's been happening with railways, is an indication for the need to finance infrastructure and invest in infrastructure. And one of the things that's interesting about railways is they have been opening up the market. They have been looking towards foreign investors. The ministry itself is now beginning to find innovative ways of financing its needs. So I think this was an area that foreign investors probably had a lot of interest in, and they're probably going to have a lot of interest in. But again, you do need a little bit more to be done on this front. A lot of good work has been done, but in general, more needs to be done. But the infrastructure story in India is still very promising. There's a lot of hiccups a couple of years ago where a lot of deals didn't go through. That's now changing, and I think this is an area that a lot of foreign investors are interested in, and they will continue to show a lot of interest in.